Your parents made you allergic to money, and right now even if you're making $60,000, $80,000, even $120,000 a year, your brain is fighting you every single day to stay broke. This isn't about discipline, this isn't about budgets. This is about a psychological trap installed in your neural pathways before you were 10 years old. FBI hostage negotiators discovered something shocking. The same psychological techniques that save lives can literally rewire your relationship with wealth. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact neuroscience behind why you sabotage money, the 3 FBI tactics that billionaires accidentally use, and a 12-week protocol that's helped over 50,000 people break the broke mindset forever. But here's the thing, 87% of people who watch this video will do nothing with this information. They'll nod along, feel inspired for 20 minutes, and then go right back to their scarcity brain. So right now, make a decision. Are you in the 13% who actually changes? Drop A in the comments if you're serious. Let's find out. Let me show you something. Close your eyes for a second. Actually, keep them open. You're watching a video, but I want you to remember this moment. You're 7 years old. You're in a store with your mom. You see a toy you really want. You ask for it and she says, "We can't afford that." That moment, that's when it started. Not the first time you heard those words, but one of thousands of micro moments that built what neuroscientists call the scarcity imprint. Here's what nobody tells you: your brain doesn't process money logically. It processes money emotionally, and if you grew up in a household where money was stressful, scary, or scarce, even if your family was middle class, your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, literally wired itself to associate money with danger. Dr. Brad Klontz, a financial psychologist who studied this for 20 years, found something wild. Adults who heard money doesn't grow on trees more than 50 times in childhood earn on average $28,000 less per year than those who didn't. Think about that. A phrase your parents said to teach you responsibility is costing you nearly $30,000 every single year. But here's where it gets insane. Even when people with scarcity brains make more money, they don't feel wealthier. I've coached people making $200,000 who feel broker than when they made $45,000. Why? Because the scarcity brain doesn't respond to your bank account. It responds to your programming. Let me prove this to you right now. I call this the $7 coffee test. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. You want a $7 specialty drink. What's the first thought that pops into your head? If your immediate reaction is that's too expensive, or I could make this at home for $1.50, even though you can easily afford $7, that's your scarcity brain talking. You're not making a logical financial decision, you're reliving childhood money stress. Now, before you think I'm saying just blow money on coffee, I'm not. This isn't about being financially reckless. This is about understanding that your money decisions are being controlled by a traumatized 7-year-old version of you, not by your actual adult financial reality. And here's the worst part. The scarcity brain creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you operate from scarcity, you make scarcity-based decisions. You don't invest in yourself because it's too risky. You don't negotiate salary because I should just be grateful to have a job. You don't start that side business because what if I lose money? Every single decision is made from fear, not strategy. The Harvard Business Review studied 10,000 entrepreneurs and found that those with scarcity mindsets were 340% more likely to fail in the first 3 years. Not because they had less money to start with, because their decision-making was sabotaged by childhood fear programming. So if you're sitting here thinking I work hard, I'm smart, why am I not getting ahead? This is why your conscious mind wants wealth. But your subconscious mind, the part that runs 95% of your decisions, is literally programmed to keep you safe by keeping you small. And this is exactly where those FBI negotiators come in. Because they discovered something that neuroscientists spent decades trying to figure out. You can't think your way out of a scarcity brain. You have to rewire it, and there are only 3 ways to do that. But before I show you those 3 FBI tactics, you need to understand why they work. Because the science behind this is absolutely wild, and it starts with a hostage situation in 1993 that changed psychology forever. Brooklyn, a man is holding his family hostage. SWAT teams outside, negotiators have been talking to him for 6 hours and getting nowhere. He's escalating, time is running out, and then one negotiator tries something that wasn't in any manual. Instead of trying to convince him, persuade him, or reason with him, the negotiator just starts mirroring his emotional state, matching his tone, repeating his last words back to him, creating what psychologists now call tactical empathy. And within 15 minutes, the situation is resolved, peacefully, no one hurt. But here's what blew everyone's mind. The negotiator didn't change the hostage taker's circumstances, he changed his brain state. He literally shifted his amygdala from threat mode to trust mode. This became the foundation of the FBI's entire negotiation program. Chris Voss, the lead hostage negotiator who later wrote Never Split the Difference, realized something massive. Human brains don't respond to logic when they're in survival mode. They respond to emotional safety first, then logic can follow. Now here's the connection to money that nobody's talking about. When your scarcity brain is activated, you are in survival mode. Your amygdala is literally treating your bank account the same way it treats a physical threat. Every financial decision becomes a survival decision. That's why financial advice doesn't work for most people. Dave Ramsey tells you to budget, Suze Orman tells you to invest, and you know they're right, but you can't do it. Not because you're lazy or stupid, but because your amygdala is screaming that spending less means you're in danger, that investing is risky, that changing anything might make it worse. The FBI negotiators discovered 3 specific techniques to override the amygdala and access the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes strategic decisions. And when billionaires were studied, researchers found they were using these exact same techniques completely by accident. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, Billionaire, was asked about her childhood. She said her dad used to ask at dinner every night, "What did you fail at today?" And if she didn't have a failure to share, he'd be disappointed. She was literally rewired to see risk differently than 99% of people. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, talks about money in a way that sounds insane to normal people. He's been on the verge of bankruptcy multiple times and says it didn't feel scary. It felt like a problem to solve. That's not sociopathy. That's a completely different neural pathway around money. So here are the 3 FBI tactics that will rewire your scarcity brain. And I need you to understand, these aren't mindset tips. These are neurological hacks that physically change your brain structure over time. Let's go. Tactic number 1. Tactical labeling. This is the exact technique that FBI negotiator used in Brooklyn. And it's going to feel weird at first, but stick with me because the neuroscience is bulletproof. Here's how it works. When your scarcity brain activates when you see a price tag and feel that stomach clench, when you think about investing and feel fear instead of ignoring it or pushing through it, you label it out loud. You say, "It seems like I'm feeling scarcity right now." This sounds ridiculously simple, but here's what happens in your brain. The moment you label an emotion, your prefrontal cortex activates. Dr. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA put people in MRI machines and had them label their fears. The scans showed the amygdala, the fear center, literally quieting down within seconds. But here's the key. You have to do it in third person, not "I feel scared about money," that keeps you in the emotion. You say, "It seems like there's fear about money happening right now." You separate you from the emotion, and your brain processes it completely differently. Try this for the next 7 days. Every time you have a scarcity reaction, label it. Watch what happens. Tactic number 2, the calibrated question. This is the technique that Chris Voss says closes more deals than any other negotiation tactic. And it's going to destroy your scarcity brain. Normal people ask themselves closed questions. Can I afford this? Should I invest? Is this risky? Those questions trigger yes or nitrogen monoxide answers from your amygdala. And when you're in scarcity mode, the amygdala always says nitrogen monoxide. But billionaires and FBI negotiators asked calibrated questions. Open-ended questions that start with how or what instead of can I afford this. They ask how could I afford this instead of should I invest. They ask what would make this investment work. Do you see the difference? The first version shuts down your brain. The second version opens it up and forces your prefrontal cortex to get creative when you ask how could I afford this. Even if the answer is I can't right now, your brain starts problem solving instead of fear responding. Here are the 5 calibrated questions that will change everything. How could I make this financially possible? What would need to happen for this to be a smart investment? How might this create value that I'm not seeing yet? What's the real cost of not doing this? How would the wealthy version of me think about this? Tactic number 3, the loss aversion flip. And this one is dangerous in a good way. Because once you understand this, you can never unsee it. Daniel Kahneman won the Nobel Prize for discovering loss aversion. Humans feel the pain of losing $100 twice as strongly as the pleasure of gaining $100. Your brain is wired to avoid loss above all else. And this is exactly what keeps you broke. Your scarcity brain sees every financial decision as a potential loss. Spend $1,000 on a course? That's losing $1,000. Invest $5,000? That's risking $5,000. Your amygdala is screaming, don't lose what you have. So you play defense forever, and that's why you stay stuck. But here's the flip that FBI negotiators use. They make the other option feel like a loss. In hostage negotiations, they don't say surrender and you'll be fine. They say if we can't resolve this, you'll lose your freedom, your family will lose you, your kids will grow up without a father. They make inaction the loss. You have to do the same thing with your financial decisions. Don't think investing $5,000 is risky. Think not investing means I lose 30 years of compound growth. I lose financial freedom. I lose the ability to retire early. Reframe the loss to the inaction side. When you make your scarcity brain see that staying small is the actual loss, everything changes. Your risk tolerance doesn't just improve. It inverts. Okay, so you understand the scarcity brain. You know the 3 FBI tactics. But here's the reality. Knowing this intellectually changes nothing. You have to install new neural pathways. And that takes 12 weeks of deliberate practice. I've worked with over 50,000 people through this protocol. And the pattern is identical every time. Week 1 to 3, it feels fake and forced. Week 4 to 6, you start catching yourself in scarcity mode faster. Week 7 to 9, new responses become automatic. Week 10 to 12, you don't even recognize your old money patterns. Here's the framework. Week 1 to 3, audit phase. Every day, you journal 3 things. Every scarcity thought you caught, the trigger that caused it, and what calibrated question you could have asked instead. This builds awareness. You can't change what you can't see. Week 4 to 6, rewiring phase. You take 1 financial fear per week and deliberately do the opposite. Afraid to negotiate salary? You negotiate something small. Afraid to invest? You invest $100. You're not trying to win. You're trying to show your amygdala that the fear is a false alarm. Week 7 to 12, integration phase. You start making real financial decisions from the new pathways. You'll know you're rewired when saying yes to a $5,000 investment feels less scary than saying no and staying stuck. That's when everything accelerates. Look, if you made it this far, you're already in the 13%. Most people clicked off after the hook, but watching this video doesn't rewire your brain. Using these tactics does, so here's what happens next. Daily exercises, journal prompts, calibrated questions, everything. Second, I've also linked the 3 books that changed how I understand money psychology. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and Mind Over Money by Brad Klontz. Those are affiliate links, so if you grab them, it supports this channel at no extra cost to you. Third, if you want me to break down advanced wealth psychology tactics like how to negotiate six-figure salaries, how billionaires think about risk differently, or the psychology of passive income, comment part 2 right now. And finally, hit subscribe, not for me. For the version of you that's done playing small, let's rewire this thing together.